Hi friend, I want you to forget everything you know about manifestation because this 6-step process is guaranteed to change your life. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Kaylani and I'm a hypnotherapist and life coach. I create personal development content that sits at the intersection of spirituality and science, or more simply put, I blend my deep love for God with my obsession with the subconscious mind to help you create your heaven on earth and live the life of your dreams. So let's go. If I look back on my life, I have manifested so many things. And if I had to kind of look back at how I did something, if I'm honest, nothing I manifested has ever started with a vision board. And it's not that I'm anti-vision board, because I'm not, I promise you. It's just that I don't think that's the only step. It's more supplemental, if you will. It's an add-on, but it goes so much deeper than that. And that's what I want to share with you today. So when it comes to manifesting our dreams, I think that the biggest problems that we face is our self-doubt, our limited beliefs, our habits, our actions, or lack thereof is actually what prevents us from seeing these manifestations kind of come into fruition. How many times have you set out at the beginning of the year all of your New Year goals, your New Year's resolutions, only at the end of the year to be met with a bit of disappointment because none or some of those things haven't happened? I believe that you are destined for greatness and abundance. I don't believe you are destined for a life of mediocrity, but there are certain things, certain steps that you have to take in order to get there. My hope is that you will become the person that actualizes these dreams and these manifestations into your current reality. I don't want you to just think about them anymore. I don't want you to just see them on a board anymore. I don't want them to be dreams anymore. I want them to be your real life. And that's what I'm here to share with you. Like I said, I have deep love for God. God is my number one. And if I was to look back at manifestation and all the things that I've manifested in my life, none of it was done by my own will. Even things as little as the idea was a seed planted in me by God. I feel like God destined me to be this person here on this earth in this lifetime at this moment. If I look back, like I said, it wasn't that I was manifesting things because I decided that I wanted this thing. I only decided because that nudge, that spiritual sort of intuition was pulling at me, and it was a vision that was planted within me, and it was up to me to nurture it and to nourish it into fruition. The number one thing I can identify is that in all of my manifestations, everything that I've created in my life started with a conversation with God. And in my world, that's what manifestation is. Manifestation is a co-creative process. It's co-creating with God. It's the faith with the works. It's knowing that God will give you your heart's desires, but you doing the work to see it through. And I feel like when we get in that sort of dance with God, when we're in that balance, when we're in that flow, things just align so seamlessly. I have had experiences in my life that if I look back, it was nobody but God. It was not by my own will, by my own understanding, by my own doing. I was placed in positions at moments and at times where I'm like, oh my gosh, look at God. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, because when you realize that you don't have to do it all on your own, that there is a source that is willing to give you everything, all of your heart's desires, and just having the faith that it's going to come, but also doing the work. The prayer says, thy kingdom come and thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. The way that I read that is that there is a source that we inherently get to tap into every single day on earth as it is in heaven. So whatever is happening on this earthly realm, we can tap into heaven every single day of our lives and pull that same power down here. Things that we can't even explain, we can tap into that every single day. And that is how the C.R.E.A.T.E process was born. C.R.E.A.T.E literally came to me again, by way of God. I was almost asleep, like half asleep one night, and I was like, okay, I know that there is a manifesting power. There is a power that like I want to share with people because I've seen it in my life. And I truly believe like part of my mission is really to help you create your heaven on earth. I want to see you actualize into everything that you were destined to be. I want you to decondition what the world has taught you, what your experience has told you about yourself, family members, people. Life conditioned you to believe that you had to sort of settle, but you don't. And I kind of want to help you get back to that space when God said it was so. When God says, before you were in your mother's womb, I knew you and I appointed you to be prophets of nations. So let's break down what the C.R.E.A.T.E framework is and how you can use it in your life today to see anything manifest into your life. It could be a relationship, it could be the job, the business, the money, whatever it is that you are searching for. Matthew 6:33 says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given unto you. So let's do that. So what is C.R.E.A.T.E? C.R.E.A.T.E is a 6-step framework that embodies the concept that you can co-create with God and design the life of your dreams. It combines the power of spiritual discovery and subconscious reprogramming to remove any blocks that you may have and create a pathway to your dream life. This framework really embodies the fact that with the right tools and with the understanding of God's gifts within you, you have the power to overcome any challenges. You can build unwavering faith and focus, and you can truly create your heaven on earth. So the 6 steps in C.R.E.A.T.E are C for clarity. Really getting clear on your goals, on who you are, and on where you're going and everything you need to become. R is for release, releasing any limited beliefs, any habits and patterns, and really just any subconscious blocks that will prevent you from actually moving towards your goals. E is for expansion and embodiment, and this is where you just completely expand your mind to what is possible, that the possibilities are infinite and that anything can happen. The 4th step, A, is aligned action, because we all know that faith without works is dead. So this is where you get really specific on what needs to be done in order to, again, inch forward and move the needle towards your goals and your manifestations. T is for trust and triggers, because it is so important for you to, 1, trust the process. Trust that you know that God is doing his thing, that no matter what happens, no matter what it looks like, everything that is happening is for you and not against you. Triggers, because listen, we're humans and we are going to be triggered. So how can we prepare for these triggers, and what solutions and strategies can we have and create to overcome them? And then E is my favorite. It is expectance. It's when you have done all the things, you have built all the faith, you are doing the steps, and you know without a doubt in your heart, mind, and spirit that the things you are praying for are coming. So much so that you can almost feel as if they're in the room. So again, just to reiterate, C is for clarity, R is for release, E is for expansion and embodiment, A is for aligned action, T is for trust and triggers, and then E is for the energy of expectance. So let's go into all of that. So clarity. The step of clarity is really about, 1, getting super clear on what you want, because without knowing where you're going, without the direction, it's hard to get anywhere. You'll be going nowhere fast. But not only do we get really clear on what you want and who you are, but we also get clear on what is your spiritual relationship like? How much do you believe that you are deserving of the things? And then we really want to go into who you are as a person. What are your values? What do you find important? Are your goals and dreams attached to your true desires, or are they for someone else or for something else? The reason that these things are truly important is because if you are chasing a dream that is not yours, but for the fulfillment of others, there's going to be a real disconnect on an energetic level. And if you are doing things that are unaligned to your values and what you believe in, again, you're going to be pushing a thin line of making things happen that go against everything that you are. Another thing is that we really want to get clear on who you currently are. So what are your current habits like? What are your current patterns? What are things that can possibly hold you back from, moving forward and moving the needle into your dreams? So the first step in clarity, like I said, is really taking your spiritual temperature. seeing where you currently are. What is your belief system like? What is your spiritual practice like? Do you talk to God? Do you talk to spirit? Are you in tune with your own intuition? And this isn't to judge yourself, just make it a bad thing like, oh, I haven't talked to God in a year. That's okay. The whole point about it is to take inventory of where you are so that you can create a plan to what you need to do. What steps do you need to implement? What habits do you need to bring in? What do you kind of need to release? Things like that. Another thing is, let's just say that you are very much so in your spiritual practices. A good thing to do is to observe, do these spiritual practices still align with me? Do they still feel good? Do they still excite me? Maybe you just have to change the routine up a bit. If it feels like it's on autopilot, that's not really the spiritual practice. It's just essentially checking off your to-do list. And if you don't have a spiritual practice, how can you build one? What things fill you up? What things excite you? What things make you feel good and make you feel closer to God and to your spirit? Okay, so another step, identifying your core values. What feels good to you? What do you align with? What do you stand for? Because like the saying goes, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. So really aligning, because you want to make sure that the things you are manifesting in your life, whether it's a partner, a business opportunity, a new job, you want to make sure that it sits well in your spirit. If it doesn't, even on a subconscious level, your subconscious and your body are going to repel the manifestation. So you may look at your life like, okay, the thing that I want isn't happening. But if the thing isn't aligned to you, if the thing doesn't belong to you, it's time to reassess what it is you're calling in. So yes, when it comes to designing our goals, we want to get specific. But before we get there, the third step that I would say in clarity is to design your legacy. So don't really think about what I need to do right now or in this year, but think of who you want to become in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. What is it that people would say about you? What words would they use to describe you? What feelings would they use to embody you? What do you want to be known for? What do you want to leave behind? What energy, what emotions, what spirit, what accomplishment? You know, we talk about generational wealth all the time. What does that look like for you? Sometimes it looks like money, but what about generational love? What about generational healing? These are the things that you're being called to. And every step that you take, every decision that you make, everything that you do essentially contributes to that. So really feel where you're being pulled, who it is that you want to be and what you want to be known for and how you want people to feel about you. And I think that is so much more than in the specifics of our actual goals, because the goals are just the tools and the conduits, right? But the overall vision, again, who has God destined you to be in the world at this time? Okay, so let's move on to release. Release is one of my favorite things that I love to work on with my clients, because once we can release some things, the opportunities are endless. But release is truly about removing anything blocking you. That could look like limited beliefs. That could look like the stories that you're telling yourself. That could look like the identity that you've assumed up until this point. It could be removing traumas and past hurts and any experiences that essentially told you or withheld you from becoming everything that you were truly destined to be. So release is really about freeing yourself from the baggage of the past so that you can create room for growth and new possibilities. I always say, let life be magical, not logical, but it needs room to land. Like that magic, those seeds, they need somewhere to land. So that's what release is about. It's about clearing up that space. It's about opening up your mind, your heart, and your spirit to what is possible and really allowing God to move through you. And why is this important? I mean, because think about it. Limited beliefs, anything that brings you down, anything that makes you sad, any old emotions and unresolved emotions and thoughts, they're like energy vampires. They suck everything out of you. So if you're only focused on that, you're essentially in like a fight or flight kind of mode. Your nervous system is so dysregulated that new things cannot happen, especially if your mind on a subconscious level is always ruminating on these, like, you know, again, these negative emotions, these limited beliefs. That essentially 95% of our reality starts in our subconscious mind. So it's not that bad things are happening around us all the time, but it's just that your focus is so set on seeing that you can't even really see the good around you. So We want to clear that up. We want to remove that so that we can start seeing what is possible. We can start seeing the magic of life. We can start allowing these new things to happen in our life. I'll get into the science another video, but it's truly, truly important that we master our mind and that we master our thoughts and that we qualify our thoughts, because one thing the enemy will do is attack your mind. And we have to be making sure that we're in, we are armed, we are good. Another thing that I want to share with you in terms of the subconscious mind is that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what is right and wrong or what is real and fake. So it's up to us every day to really identify and qualify our thoughts, because we can think a thing that hasn't even happened, but because the subconscious mind doesn't know whether it's real or not, it's going to act as if it is. And then you're going to start feeling like it's real. And then you're going to start seeing it in your life. But there is so much power in the subconscious mind. You have to qualify your thoughts, and you have to make sure that they align to who you want to be and what you want to happen. So the first step truly is identifying what are your beliefs? What are your limited beliefs? And one way to do this is if you take a piece of paper and split it in half, pick a subject. Let's just say, for example, it's money. On one side of that page, I want you to write down everything you think about money. Maybe it's money doesn't grow on trees because that's what we heard when we were younger. Or maybe it's, do you have McDonald's money? But everything that you've heard and that you think and that you believe about money, your experience with money, write it on one side of the paper. Now on the other side of the paper, write down the belief that you actually want. So if it's, again, normally it's going to be the opposite. So if it's money doesn't grow on trees, maybe on the other side you can say money is infinite and it's everywhere. Because whether you don't believe it specifically right now, that's the belief that you want to go to. You don't want to think that money grows on trees. You want to think that money is infinite and abundant and always available to you. And then so what that does is that allows you to reposition your beliefs and your thoughts. Now, as a hypnotherapist, I would advise you to take it a step further. And those same ideas, so the new beliefs, record it in your phone. Okay, record it in your phone as a voice note. And every morning that you wake up, right when you wake up, if you're going to reach for your phone, don't go to Instagram, don't go to your emails, but go to this recording and listen to what it is that you want to believe. So whether it's ideas about your self-worth, your self-concept, ideas about money, ideas about being seen, ideas about love, it could be ideas about business, whatever it is, start to reprogram your mind on that subconscious level. Because right when you wake up, you're in this special space called theta, and it's when the subconscious mind is the most suggestible. So that's when we can start planting new seeds. So start planting those new seeds, reprogramming your mind and rewriting those limited beliefs. And I guarantee you, eventually you'll start moving and making decisions and doing little steps that contribute to that belief. Okay, step 2, what I want you to do is I really want you to do a habit audit. And this is loosely based off of James Clear in Atomic Habits, where he instructs us to do a habit audit and to really identify what are my current habits and really make a list of all of your current habits, good or bad. They don't have to be like, oh, these are all of my bad habits, but just what does your day-to-day look like on a habitual basis? So when you wake up in the morning, what is it that you first do? To be honest, most of us reach for our phone, but write that on the list. And then what I want you to do is go through your list and identify, is this habit conducive to my goals? Then maybe put a plus. It helps. It'll get you closer to your goals. Is this withholding me from reaching my goals? Then put a negative, put a minus there. Or if it's neutral, it doesn't really matter if you do it or not because it doesn't contribute nor pull away from your goals, then you could just leave it and mark it as neutral. But really identifying again what your current habits are. Another thing is trying to observe what normally happens, like what emotion is happening when you normally get into that habit. So for example, a habit that I have is I'm such a I need something sweet. Like I just want something sweet. So I really have to start asking myself, what is happening normally when I say out loud, I want something sweet? Am I bored? Am I like just getting done with work? Did I just get in an argument with somebody? What's currently happening that's making me crave something sweet? Just so that you can kind of pick up on what is going on. And then you want to identify, do you need to modify, replace, or delete this habit? So maybe it's not truly a bad habit, but you just want to change it a little bit. So like, again, going back to the example of always craving something sweet, maybe to balance my blood sugar but not restrict myself, I'll eat it after a meal instead of just saying I want something sweet in the middle of the day where I'll have this huge blood sugar spike. I eat it after, or I eat something sweet after a meal so that my blood sugar is able to balance a little bit. So now I'm just modifying the habit. Or do I need to replace the habit? Do I need to sort of replace it with something else? Maybe instead of craving something sweet, maybe I eat some fruit, or maybe I limit myself to one piece of dark chocolate after dinner, whatever that looks like, and just kind of creating this reward system, but just replacing the habit with a slightly better habit. Or do I need to delete the habit altogether because it's not really helping me? So identifying, do I need to modify, replace, or delete the habit will really allow you to identify what is it that you currently do. Because to be honest, most of our habits are on autopilot. And again, that's because the subconscious mind has already done it so much that it can do it in our sleep. So most of the time, we're not even aware that this habit is happening or what is even going on. We want to kind of gain autonomy over our habits and identify what is happening, what is the thing that's going on, and sort of design our ideal day, if you will. And lastly, I do this with all of my clients, but do the shadow work. Get into relationship with your shadow. So often we have come up with these shadows in our lives that we just want to suppress and ignore, but that doesn't help because eventually they'll pop up in our lives, whether it's inner child healing, whether it could be like our attachment styles, or so many different things and so many shadows that are lingering within us. But if we get into relationship with them, if we let them know that, okay, hey, I know that, you know, if I'm talking to my subconscious mind or if I'm talking to my inner child, I know that you do this thing because we have once saw this thing as not safe, but it's safe now. It's safe to do so. I got us. So let me sit with you. Let me understand why you're showing up in this way. And let me reprogram you to show up in a better way, because I don't want to delete you. You're such a part of me. But part of doing the shadow work is allowing for all parts of you to be in harmony, to achieve the goal, to achieve the life that you desire, to achieve whatever it is that you are calling in. The whole point of shadow work is to get all parts of us to be in union. So expand and embody is one of my favorites. It's all about stepping out of your comfort zone. It is expanding your mind to what is possible. It is allowing you to see life as it truly is. It's allowing you to dream big and to fully embody that before you even get there. It's about embracing curiosity and seeking new experiences and really living in the fullness of your potential. And this is important because if I want you to remember anything, it's this: stagnation is the enemy of growth. Expansion allows you to break free from this sort of stagnation. It allows you to break free from your comfort zone and the limits that you've essentially confined yourself to. It allows you to tap into new opportunities for learning and discovery and curiosity and all the things that make life magical. So first step, seek new experiences. Let life be an adventure. Put yourself in spaces and the energy and the experiences that represent where you truly want to go. For example, there would be times where I would go and work at like luxury hotels, just like these nice, just luxurious, rich hotels. Now, I couldn't afford these hotels. Sometimes I still can't afford these hotels, but it didn't matter because by being there, I was in the energy, sort of like playing pretend or playing dress up. But even playing dress up, I promise you, is going to expand your mind. It's going to expand your energy and your spirit. So seek new experiences. Like I said, go where the energy is good. Go where the experiences are good and where it matches who you're trying to become, because that's who I want to be. I want to be the person that gets to travel the world and lives in luxurious hotels and works from anywhere I want to. And I'm in that space. I may not be doing it right at this moment, but it's coming soon. Another step is really embrace curiosity. So do things that aren't normal for you. You know, go join a class or go take a solo, let's just say like a dance class or a cooking class. Go have conversations with somebody that may not have the same views as you, but be open with a sense of grace and compassion and a willingness to learn their perspective and viewpoints. Also, find community in projects and causes and things that you value, find community in that. So for example, I love God. So really like starting a Bible study where I can talk about God with people that love God is amazing for me. That's community. And if you can't find the community, then I would submit for your consideration to start the community. That might be a part of your calling. Go again where the things that you want to come into your life are plentiful, because it's out there. You just have to put yourself in the experience of it to achieve it. Another thing is finding your expanders. Find the things that expand you, the people, the situations. Like, look out for people that are doing the things that you want to, whether you know them or whether you don't, whether they're real or fiction. So even if it's somebody from a movie or a TV show, don't think that just because it's scripted or written that this cannot be your life, because it can. And maybe it just gave you the visual of what that can look like. So watch your favorite movie and see what that feels like and what comes to you. Again, if you have somebody that you admire or someone you aspire to be, study their process. What is it that they did? What steps did they take? What was their mindset and their habits like? What were their patterns like? And then how can you apply that into your life? Because essentially you're building a blueprint, even again, from movies perspectives, from a book, from a documentary, a biography, whatever it is. Just find the people that you aspire to be like, or that represent and symbolize what it is that you're calling in. Study the process and build your own blueprint as it pertains to your life. Because something that James Clear, again, who wrote Atomic Habits, said that I loved so much was that the greatest creators don't create new things. They don't strive to be innovators. They just see what's working really well and they do it better. So don't think that you have to be this brand new person. You're you. Wherever you land, you will always be the newness of it. But if you see a process that has already happened and it has worked, how can it apply to your life and how can you make it better? Okay, aligned action. I like to say that aligned action is this harmonious blend of intuition, intention, and inspired effort. It's the bridge between dreaming and doing. It's taking action in a way that is deeply connected to our core values, our passions, and our divine purpose. Aligned action is about taking intentional, purpose-driven steps towards your goals. And this is important because action without alignment is like spinning your wheels. Again, you're going nowhere fast, but you look busy. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to look busy. I want to be busy actually building my dreams, And I truly believe that faith without works is dead, because listen, if God brought you to it, He will get you through it. He just needs you to take the first step. Okay, friend? Take the first step. Thank you. So what are you going to do? You're going to identify your big vision, okay? Big, big, big. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? Who is there? What's happening? What colors are you wearing? What colors do you see? Get so clear about this and write it as if it's happening now. Like, write it as if you're writing a letter to your best friend, like a love letter of this is what is happening in my life right now. A message in a bottle. Whatever it looks like for you. Write it as if it is happening right now and you're telling the story. And again, share words, descriptive words. What does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it sound like? Like if I was picturing my dream love, my love life partner, it's like today I woke up. The sun was glistening through the windows as I heard birds chirping. I was so embraced by the arm of my love around me. So tight. Listen, I don't care what it sounds like, but if it's good and it feels real, write it, make it real, because it is. Then from here, what I want you to do is I want you to identify 3 big goals. What 3 big goals or what 3 big steps can you make that contribute towards this dream, this vision, this goal? Because what we want to do is we want to take this overwhelming, almost super far away dream and vision, and we want to make it smaller and smaller so that we don't get so overwhelmed by the process and then discourage ourselves from actually doing the thing. So taking that big vision, what are 3 big goals that get you closer to this big vision? Now with those 3 goals, we're going to get really specific and really measurable with them. But what I want you to do, instead of thinking that you have a whole year to accomplish the goal, what if you only had 12 weeks? So this is sort of loosely adapted from the 12-week year, which I love in terms of how I identify goals. But take, let's just say, one of those goals. And if you had to achieve it within the next 12 weeks, again, what are, let's just say again, 3 more things that you can do that contribute to that one big goal. We're basically going to take those 3 goals and split them, but we're going to essentially assign ourselves 12-week sprints. So what is something that you can do now that will essentially allow you to achieve that goal, but only within 12 weeks? We don't want to give ourselves like all this time, but if we only had 12 weeks, what is something that I can do right now that'll get me, again, closer to that big goal, which then gets me closer to the big vision? So from there, we're going to figure out what do we need to do on a weekly basis. So within this next 12 weeks, if I have 12 weeks to accomplish this thing. But the whole idea is to take our big vision, break it down into 3 like moving the needle kind of goals. Take those goals and break them down even more and identifying what are 3 things that I can do to achieve said goal. And then from there, what is one thing that I can do for each sub goal essentially within the next 12 weeks to allow me to really expand? Because at the end of the day, what you're doing is that you're breaking things down so that, because the time is going to go by. So as these weeks go by, as these months go by, at least you're doing things that contribute to it. So again, you get to design your day, you get to design your week based off what are the goals that I have to accomplish in this 12-week sprint that'll allow me to contribute in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years to the big overarching vision. Okay, trust and triggers. So like I mentioned before, trust is really about the process. It's really about flowing through it. It's really about understanding that whatever is happening, no matter how good or bad it seems, it's all happening for you. You know, something that I like to remind myself, that I like to remind my friends, my family, my clients, that whatever is happening right now in this moment is happening for me and not against me. And once I started to adopt that mindset, I started to see opportunities of growth in everything that happened. Whether this was a learning experience for me, whether this was meant to really stretch and expand me, no matter what it is, I knew that it was for the better good of me. And it allowed me to stop living in this woe is me, why is the world out to get me kind of thing, because it isn't. And that's not the kind of God that we serve either. But once we get our minds and our bodies out of that energy, we again create space to allow things to land and to really bloom and be nurtured into a beautiful reality, you know? And then triggers, oh my God, how triggered are we on a daily basis? The thing about it is that triggers are going to come up specifically when we decide that we really want something, or when we decide that we are going to change a part of us. The enemy will come in and will be like, oh, you thought? But it's up to us to say, you know what? You're not about to take control over my mind and my actions and my feelings. So it's about identifying, I may be triggered when this happens because I know that I'm trying to change, but this situation may come up. What am I going to do when that happens? Because even just visualizing your response, visualizing your solution kind of already puts it into practice so that when that trigger comes up, you kind of already subconsciously know what to do, even if you don't truly know what to do. Really, again, identifying where you are, what you're wanting to happen, what you're calling in, what life you want to live, who you're trying to become, and what things could possibly deter you or hold you back from actually doing the things that you need to do, and then creating a strategy and a plan around that. And then again, just trusting the process and trusting that everything is happening for your good because you are deserving. You are. So what are ways that you can do this? One, I would always say when it comes to triggers, when it comes to trust and having faith, is again, deepen your spiritual practice. Really get close to yourself and who you are on an internal level, and really understanding your intuition and how you're being guided. What does God's voice sound like to you? What does it feel like to you? What is it like to communicate with God? And then just really, what do you do when you are triggered? So maybe that looks like, you know, praying. Maybe that looks like meditating. Maybe it looks like breath work. What are the things that you can do when you're in these spaces and when you need to kind of pull back and come home to yourself? If I can give you the biggest advice when it comes to being triggered, is to just pause. If you don't even know what's happening, just you're having an argument with your partner and you know that you're being triggered, just pause. Just say, yeah, I'll be back. I have to pause. Because so often we impulsively respond, we impulsively react, and then we look back like, why did I do that? Why did I say that? And I'm a words girl. My love language is words of affirmation. So like, what you say to me is not forgotten. I might get past it, but I'll never forget that you said it. So really paying attention to what is happening and just pause. I mean, and if you really are here for the drama and for the plot, you can even stop, drop, and roll. And somebody might be like, girl, what the hell is happening? And you can say, oh, I'm sorry. I'm putting out a fire because I am not about to get burned with this argument right now. And once you identify these triggers as they come up, or even as they've come up in the past, really develop coping like mechanisms and strategies. So I really like to do somatic practices. So whether that looks like breath work, I really love EFT tapping. EFT tapping is emotional freedom technique because it allows me to just really pause, to identify the thoughts that I'm thinking and to really like tap that energy out. Because I don't know if you guys know, but on a biological level, we're really only supposed to feel emotions for 90 seconds. However, we as humans allow our minds and our feelings to get so involved that we hold on to the emotion. It could be for days, it could be for months, it could be, I've seen some people hold grudges for years and just really embody this hurt and anger and hate, and it's just like, what is going on? But we're only supposed to really feel the things for 90 seconds. So if we can take a moment to just pause and to move that energy out. Also, energy can manifest as physical ailments and just things in our life. So really using EFT to tap out that emotion and those thoughts, and to tap in, I like to call it planting new seeds, but to tap in new seeds, things that we want to feel, things that we want to know to be true, and really identifying like what is fact and fiction here, and just changing the perspective, not only on a mental level, because sometimes that's hard. Sometimes we don't immediately like can calm ourselves to get to a state of taking breaths and deep breaths, but we can tap things. And it, like, you know, even if we're angry in the beginning, we can eventually tap that anger out and then tap in new inspiring thoughts, empowering thoughts and feelings. Okay, and last but not least, like I said, my favorite is expectancy. It is knowing without a doubt that the things you and God talk about are coming, that they are here, that you can almost feel it again on an energetic level. I'm in a space right now in my life where there are so many things that I have prayed for and that I am hoping for. And even though I can't see it all like in my physical reality, it's as if I can feel them. Like I can feel them present in the room right now. The things that I'm calling in, they're so close that I can feel its energy. And I don't know how close that is. I don't know how soon it is, but I know that the things that I am praying for are here. I like to think that expectancy is a deliberate decision to know that the seeds that you have planted are blooming and that the things that you are calling in are here. You're essentially creating a safe and fertile ground for your blessings to land on. So one of the ways that I do this with myself, with my clients, and with people around me is to regulate your nervous system. I cannot stress enough how important it is to regulate your nervous system, because if your nervous system deems something as unsafe or uncomfortable, it is not going to allow you to receive it. Again, like your subconscious mind, it is designed to keep you safe. And sometimes safety to the subconscious mind looks like comfortability, but comfortability can also look like stagnation. So it's really important to allow your mind and your body to know that this new thing that you are calling in is safe. Let's just say, for example, money. If somewhere in your timeline, if somewhere in your story, money has become unsafe for you, and you know, you're like, I don't know why I always spend all my money. And I'm saying this from experience because this was me. I was like, I don't know why I keep spending all my money and why I'm acting like a child when it comes to like responsibility and finances. I just couldn't understand it, to the point that I started to get very down on myself. But I had to look back at my relationship with money and identify what my story with money was. And I realized that money wasn't safe to me. I had seen money in people, like, you know, people that were important to me in my life, and the destruction that it essentially caused. So subconsciously as a child, I saw money as like this unsafe thing. As an adult, I'm like, no, I want money. I am abundant and I'm deserving and I'm worthy. What's happening? But every time I would get money, it didn't matter if it was a little bit of money or a lot of money, I would spend it frivolously, because what was happening is that my subconscious mind and my nervous system said, oh, money? Wait, money's not safe. We have to get rid of it. So as much as I was calling in abundance and, you know, saying all the affirmations that money flows to me freely and effortlessly, it was flowing, it was coming, it just wasn't staying. And I couldn't understand that. So I had to regulate my nervous system and anchor it into safety when it came to money. If your mind and your body does not deem it as safe, it will not allow you to fully call in the fullest manifestation and potential of the thing that you're praying for. And ways that you can do that are through somatic practices. So things like breath work, things like EFT tapping, like we talked about, things like sound healing. By being able to regulate your nervous system, you create this fertile space for your blessings to really land on, and for the seeds that you're planting are planted in an environment that is fertile and conducive to its growth and its development. So that's how you want to see your mind and your body as fertile ground. And if you have to do some digging, if you have to replace the soil, whatever it looks like, the purpose is to create fertile ground so that these seeds can blossom and bloom. Another thing on the mind level is to visualize your goals. And this is where things like vision boards and, you know, meditation come in. But by being able to visualize your goals, you're also kind of like mentally rehearsing what this looks like. We as humans have this system in our brain called the reticular activation system, or the RAS. So I know that sounds very sciencey. Let me explain. You know, when like you buy a car or you decide, I want to buy a yellow Volkswagen, and all of a sudden you're just driving down the street and you have never seen a yellow Volkswagen, but now there goes a yellow Volkswagen, driving next day. Wait, there goes another yellow Volkswagen. So basically what you've done is you've caused attention to a thing. And so what happens is the more that you focus on the thing, the more you start to see it in your like physical reality. So when people say thoughts become things, thoughts don't become things in like this like magical, powerful way, like, oh my God, the moment you think it is going to come true. But the moment you think something, you start to see more evidence of it in your real waking life. Now, this can happen both positively and negatively, because if you focus only on the negative things, you're going to start seeing more evidence of that, because that's where your focus is planted. But if you do the opposite, and if you plant your focus on good things, if you plant your focus on the goals and the visions and what life feels like and looks like, and you practice it, you start to see more evidence of that in your real waking life. So it's not that your thoughts become things, it's what you focus on becomes more evident and more prominent in your life. So choose to see your life as if you've already lived it. Get into that mental rehearsal of it. Another really fun thing is that there was a study done, and the study basically had two groups. An experimental study had two groups. They were both learning to play piano. The control group was learning to play piano physically. So every day for about 2 weeks, they would play the piano. The experimental group visualized playing the piano every single day for 2 weeks. So they weren't physically playing the piano, they were just visualizing it every single day. At the end of the study, the group that played piano, they were able to look at their brain charts and see that they were learning, like see the different waves of their brain, learning the different neurons connecting, synapses and pathways being created, all the things that happens with our brains. That was happening, obviously, because they were learning new things. So that's the whole point. The group, though, that didn't physically play the piano every day and they just visualized it, when they looked at their brain graphs, the same things were happening. What I'm saying is that just by visualizing the thing, the same space in your brain that actually makes the action or actually makes the doing of the action is the same way. So yes, you may not actually be in your dream or in your vision, but you are activating it every time. You are there, you are in it, you are assuming the life that is the dream. And lastly, I would definitely, and I'm not just saying this as a hypnotherapist, but I am a hypnotherapist. And for me, the most transformation I have ever received is when I started to really rewrite my limited beliefs and my blocks on a subconscious level. So by doing hypnotherapy, you are allowing yourself to break through the gatekeepers of your mind and to see that your visions and your dreams and your goals, that they are safe, that they are real, and that you can reprogram and rewrite everything that holds you back. Every belief, every doubt, everything that has ever told you you can't make this happen, you can rewrite. And that to me is the whole part of the game. It's to transform your life. It is to become everything that you were destined to become. And it is really about creating your heaven on earth. When they say that if you knew better, you do better, I think that's only partially true, because most of us know better, but we don't understand why we don't do better. There's just like a missing piece in the middle. I believe that it goes, if you know better, and then if you reprogram your mind, you rewrite your limited beliefs, and you remove all of your subconscious blocks, you will then do better. And that's where hypnotherapy comes in. So all in all, friends, this 6-step process, this co-creation, this whole framework, it's having the faith, it's aligning with God, it's understanding who God says you are and to live by that. But it's also about really getting in touch with our minds, with the science of our bodies, with our brains. I believe that the brain is the most intricate but perfectly designed processing system in the world. And it was designed by God strictly for you. I just feel that somewhere along the line, we've been getting pulled away from that power. Everything you need is really inside you. And I do believe that this 6-step process allows you to go through everything and kind of have steps. I'm very like in my feminine flow, but there's a masculinity in me that needs to know the strategy, that needs to know the how. So this create is the how. This is the works. This is where faith meets the works. This is the strategy. This is the step-by-step. If you take it through this process, I promise you the things that you want in life will begin to happen, and you'll be like, oh, I knew it. You are so deserving, friend. You are so loved. Again, I'm here to support you. I'm always rooting for you. If you want more content like this, let me know. This is my first video, but it's something that I wanted to share with you. So definitely like, subscribe, share with your people, share with somebody who needs to know this, who needs to hear this. I'm excited. I'm so happy what God is doing in my life, and I can't wait to hear what God has done and is going to continue to do in yours. Have a great day.